Hey there. This week I've been learning in school about how overeating causes people to be overweight. And overeating is just taking in too many calories that our body can use for fuel. And what causes people to overeat? Well, it's hormones and emotions. Let's first talk about the hormones. The three hunger hormones are insulin, ghrelin, and leptin. So insulin is a hormone that we want to be low, but it gets really high as we overeat, especially if we are overeating processed foods that contain a lot of flour and sugar. And that's what makes our insulin levels get high. Ghrelin, think of grrr when your stomach growls. Ghrelin is the hunger hormone that tells you, I'm hungry, it's time to eat. And we can program our stomachs to growl at certain times. And I've done this. I am used to eating dinner at 5 o'clock, and I've noticed that even when I'm in a different time zone, my stomach will still growl thinking it's dinner time when it would be 5 o'clock in my hometown. And then the third hunger hormone is leptin. Leptin is the hormone that tells you, I'm full, I've had enough, I'm good. But guess what? When our insulin levels are high, then the leptin hormone is blocked. So we don't even get the message that we are full, which is what leptin tries to tell us. It can't tell us when our insulin levels are too high. Now, the other reason that we overeat is because of emotions. We don't want to feel that negative feeling, so we stuff it down and say, I'm just gonna go eat something instead. Or I'm too stressed to think about that, but maybe if I have some chocolate right now, then that will help me get through it better. Something interesting that I love learning about was this Russian scientist over 100 years ago named Pavlov. Now, Pavlov, he did a study, it's called Pavlov's Dogs, where he would ring a bell and then feed a pack of dogs. And he did this for weeks. Ring a bell, ding, feed the dogs. Ring the bell, ding, feed the dogs. And then over time, the dogs, every time they heard the bell, they knew, I'm gonna get to eat. And so they would salivate. They'd be very excited, just like I get about ice cream. And so then he decided to reverse it. So he started ringing the bell and not feeding the dogs. And at first it was very uncomfortable for the dogs. And this is what we go through as well when we try to change our eating habits. It's very uncomfortable. But eventually he was able to rewire the dogs' brains to be able to hear the bell and not salivate, excuse me. So I did this myself. For the first 8 years of motherhood, I was training myself that bedtime for my children meant ice cream time for mama. So every night it was like ringing the bell, tuck them in, mwah, love you, good night, I'm gonna go have my ice cream. And so when I realized that I was basically like one of Pavlov's dogs, I started to rewire my brain. So now bedtime does not mean ice cream time for mama. Don't get me wrong, I still have my ice cream. Back to the emotions. If we are able to manage our mind around our emotions, then we can overcome this over desire and over hunger that we have. Now, if you are on medication that maybe messes with your hormones and it makes you think I am hungry all the time, then you can practice managing your mind by telling the crazy monkey that's in your brain, calm down, I know you think you're hungry, and we will eat later. Right now, we're gonna dine in on what's in our belly. We're gonna dine in on the fat that's already on our bodies. So a good way to start a plan to lose weight is called a protocol. A protocol is not a diet, because a diet is something that you do temporarily and then to lose weight, and then you go off the diet and you gain the weight back on. So we're done with that. A protocol is a plan that you make to eat, and it can be for the rest of your life. But let's start small. Let's make a protocol for what you're gonna eat 24 hours in advance. And I don't want you to make this grand thing that your brain is going to automatically reject. For example, if you want to drink more water, and right now you're drinking 0 ounces a day, I don't want your protocol to say, tomorrow I am going to drink 100 ounces, because your brain is gonna freak out. And we don't wanna do that. So let's meet yourself where you are at. Let's say, tomorrow I will drink 8 ounces. And as you make these small goals and then you keep that promise to yourself, that is how you build integrity with yourself. That is how you learn, I can trust me. I've got me. I love me enough to keep my word to myself. And that's how you build integrity. So same thing with vegetables. If you're eating 0 vegetables right now and you want to become a person that eats tons of vegetables, let's start small. Let's say on my protocol for tomorrow, I will eat 1 cup of vegetables, or however you want to measure it. Now, if you're accustomed to having a treat every day, then I want you to plan for that, and I want you to stick to that plan. And if you have an urge that comes up for a treat and it's not the appropriate time, then I want you to allow the urge. You're not going to die. Your brain will make you think, if I don't eat this right now, I'm going to die, but you won't. Just say, I hear you, brain, and I can allow this, and I can have that treat at the time that I plan to have it. So let's just meet yourself with where you're at so you can build that integrity. Also, your fasting period. Let's talk about that. So the word breakfast broken down means break fast.
While we are sleeping, we are fasting.
So when we wake up and have breakfast, we are breaking our fast. So if you're used to eating all day long, from the time you wake up until the time that you go to bed, then your insulin is staying high all day long. And we want to try to bring that insulin level down a bit. So if you right now have a fast window of, say, 8 hours, I want you to make a protocol where you're extending that just 1 extra hour, and see how you do with that, and then gradually extend it so that you can reprogram your ghrelin and your insulin. Now, lastly, the whoosh effect. This was so interesting to me. My life coach teacher, Brooke Castillo, she was talking about her weight loss journey and how she didn't lose any weight for like 6 weeks. And if you've ever done a diet before, you kind of hit a plateau and you think this isn't working. Well, guess what happened? She found out that during that 6-week period where she didn't lose any weight, it was because her body was eating off of the fat of her body, but she was retaining the water. And so after 6 weeks, she had the whoosh effect, where suddenly her body released all that water weight that she had been holding on to. So if you make a protocol and you're sticking to it and you say, but I'm not losing any weight yet, please give it at least 6 weeks to see the effects of your body eating off of itself. So if you would like help making a protocol or a plan or some life coaching, reach out and let me know. Thanks so much. Take care.